Greetings, Commanders. This is Commander Atlas Rand, and today I wanted to do a short video about mining in X4. Mining is something I've really enjoyed in most of the space games that I've played, and much like EVE Online and Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen, X4 also has mining. So today I want to go through and give you some details about what that entails, different ships that can be utilized for mining, because in this game, it's not just a matter of putting on a mining laser, but you have to have a ship that's capable of storing the mined rocks. And then we'll take a look at some mining best practices. So one thing you'll notice right away before we go shopping for ships is that there are ice asteroids and there are rock asteroids. And the types of materials that you get from each are slightly different. However, the process that you use, regardless of the type of rock it is, or the type of asteroid I should say it is pretty much the same. So once you know the process, it doesn't really matter what it is that you're mining, you're going to be able to mine it. So with that, let's go shopping for mining ships. I want to show you a few different mining ships, and there are lots in this game. I think there are 8 different mining ships of each size that you can get. Actually, I think there might be more of some of the medium-sized ones, but I believe there are 8 small ones, and then 9 or 10 medium ones, and then a decent number, like 8 or 9 large ones as well. So let's do that. First, we have the Paranid mining ships, and we're going to start looking at the small size for all of these initially. The Tethus is the small size Paranid mining ship. I think it definitely wins the competition of coolest looking mining ship. It's not the fastest, it's not the biggest by storage, but it does have some interesting features, and it absolutely looks the coolest out of all the mining ships, in my opinion. Speed-wise, putting in a motor that we would typically put on there actually does make it one of the fastest, at almost 400 meters per second and almost 6,000 meters per second travel speed. Travel speed would be sort of equivalent to the in-system speeds that you can go in Elite Dangerous when you're in warp, or when you've got the jump drive activated. Similarly, in Star Citizen, I think there is now a quantum mode for moving fast, but not at the fastest speeds that you're flying between planets. But either or, when you're in the system, you top out at about 6,000 meters per second in this particular mining ship. The other unique thing about this ship, it's pretty typical in Shields, but what it does have is not one but 2 places for a mining laser. So you can put in a, there it is, mining laser. So you can actually put in 2 of them. Now, why would you want to? What does that do? What that does is allows you to break down the rocks much faster. I don't want to say it's twice as fast, simply because there are many other aspects to mining than simply shooting a laser into a rock until the rock explodes into smaller chunks, but that is certainly a large part of it. So having 2 lasers on the ship is better than having 1. When we move to larger ships, we'll have some ships that have 3 lasers on them. So there will be an increase in the capabilities that the ships are able to mine. But this is a pretty good early game mining ship, small size, and definitely cool looking. Through the magic of video editing, we're now going to be looking at a different ship. So the Macpie is a Totti mining ship, size small. You can see it's no nonsense, very boxy, squarish looking. And you can also see that it has just a single mining laser. However, what it loses in mining speed, it makes up for in capacity. It is 3,500 meters of storage, which means that you would have to go out 1.5 times in the first ship we looked at to gather the exact same amount of materials that this ship can do all at once before it returns. As far as speed, it's no speed demon, but it's not super slow. It's 226 and 3,000, so it's about 60% of the speed of the first ship we saw. And you're going to start seeing a theme like that because the ships that are fast typically have a smaller capacity. The ships that are slower will usually have a higher capacity. So slower to mine, slower to move, but you don't have to come back as often, which makes it slightly more efficient as well. And once again, looking at a different ship. Gotara is a Zyarch ship. They are known for their high speed and poor shields. So as far as speed, let's take a look at what we are. We're at 516, so about 100 meters faster than the first ship we looked at, but slightly slower in the travel speed at 4,000. So faster in normal speed, slower in when it comes to the high speed travel speed. Now you will see it also has dual guns, which means you can put in 2 mining lasers. There we go. There's the mining laser, 1 and 2. As far as capacity, it is the fastest ship, so it has the least capacity. It has 1,720. So even less than the first ship we looked at, and substantially less than the last ship. This is more of a run in, mine, and run out before anybody notices you kind of ship, because that capacity is going to be filled up very, very quickly. Now the next ship we're going to look at is sort of the very blah middle of the rotor courier from the Argon. It's also very blocky. You can see that. It has a middle of the road speed. It's slower than 2 ships, faster than 1. 5,000 travel, 347 regular speed. But once again, it just has a single turret for mining. So it will be slower to mine. Capacity wise, again, it's nothing special. It's more than 2 of the ships, but also less than 2 others. So probably not something that is all that interesting to mine in. Now from our fishy friends, the Borons, we have a grouper, which is probably my second favorite in terms of shape. It is an interesting shape. It has 2,500 cargo, so again, very much middle of the road. And it's not particularly fast. In fact, it's rather slow at 186 meters per second. It's even slower than the ship that had a capacity of 4,000. And it's 3,500 travel speed, so very much last place when it comes to speeds. And that is using the fastest engine you can put on there. As far as mining turrets, well, it's got 1. So once again, nothing particularly special there. But it is a neat looking ship. I just really like the way that it looks. Finally, we get to the Terrans, the Earthlings who have stayed on Earth, and they have the Copus. Now, the Copus may not be the best looking of the mining ships, but you can see that cargo capacity dwarfs every other ship. Most of them are in the 2,500 to 3,000 range. One other one that's probably in second place capacity wise, about 4,000. This one's 5,500. Now, it does have a penalty for that. The speed is the slowest of any mining ship at just 1500 travel speed and 112 regular speed. That is about 3 times slower. Well, it's actually 4 times slower than the fastest one and 3 times slower than the second fastest one. So it is a putt-putt, but with a capacity of 5,400, that is triple capacity of the fastest ship. So the fastest ship would have to make 3 runs in the amount of time that it takes this one to fill up. And while the travel speed certainly would allow it to make 3 runs in that amount of time, realistically speaking, doing round trips and going to a station probably actually takes longer than 3 times. And for the ships that have double or have half this capacity, would they be able to be twice as fast? That's questionable. Perhaps, but also perhaps not. And the real question is, do you want to spend your time flying back and forth, or do you want to spend your time mining? Because if you're going to do this manually, which is probably more likely with a small ship, because it's your first mining vessel, than it will be with the larger sizes, you probably don't just want to be mining a little bit, flying back, flying forth, mining a little bit and doing that. You're probably going to want to mine quite a bit, as much as you can, and then fly back. Now, this ship also just has a single turret, which does slow down the rate with which it can mine, but you're out there for an extended period of time without having to go back. In fact, this capacity is so big that medium-sized ships that are significantly more expensive will start at a capacity of 6,000. So it is almost a medium ship size capacity, but with a small ship size cost and small ship size availability, meaning you can get it very early on in the game. And if you start as a Terran, you will most likely get it because it's the only ship that you can get toward the beginning of the game. Because it'll take you a while to get to a higher standing and to explore other races, and you really don't want to wait too long before you start mining. So what are we going to do for this little test? Well, I'm going to go with the first ship I showed you, the one that I like the look of. I think it's a neat looking ship, and I'm not too worried about the fact that it has half that capacity, because I want to show you a multitude of ships and how they're able to mine and what the process is. All right, I'm in the store getting ready to purchase this ship, and I want to show you a couple of options that you will want to know about when purchasing a mining ship. First of all, I just thought of something else, and that is with 2 weapon slots, you could actually have a real weapon, something to shoot the bad guys with, in one slot, and a mining drill in the other slot. Now, that will make you as slow as all the other ships that just have one, but you will be a small size mining ship that also has a single weapon to defend yourself with. For what we're doing, I think I'm going to just keep both of the mining lasers in there. But when you're first configuring the ship, in your purchase options, you're going to have a choice of equipment to put on. Docking computer Mark 1 or 2, you can see the cost difference there. I almost always go with a Mark 2 unless it's the very, very, very beginning of the game and I just don't have sufficient enough money to be able to buy it. Normally, this is the standard layout, is Mark II, Flight Assist. I generally do a long-range scanner Mark II as well, because that allows me to, when I'm flying around, to refresh the prices in locations that are further away from me. It lets me see. It clears up more of the fog of war, allowing me to see more of the map whenever I fly through an area that has fog of war. So the long-range scanner is good. Here, for this type of ship, non-military, I would just leave it on basic scanner. And then, of course, a trading computer, because I will end up making this ship just fly and mine and trade on its own with a pilot rather than having me inside. But for this purpose, I will be piloting. And then for consumables, one thing you always want to have in a mining ship is some extra resource probes. I like to put 5 in every single ship, no matter what the ship is, even military. But for the mining ships, I would put 10 or more. You will probably use up more than 10 eventually. And it's also nice to have some satellites. You can either use advanced or regular, depending on what your financial situation is. You can see the regular ones are about 10 times cheaper, but it also takes 5 of these minimum to cover the same area as a single advanced. So there's definitely a trade-off in having to drop a lot more satellites if you do that route. Laser towers are good for NPC piloted ships because you can set them up to drop a laser tower if they ever get attacked. And the main purpose of that isn't to kill the enemy, it's to distract the enemy while this ship is running away. I never bother with mines. I find them to be too much of a pain. And then I usually put as many flares as will go into a ship in case I'm manually piloting it as well. And then, of course, for crew, one thing you do want to keep in mind is, aside from the pilot, you want to have a maximum full crew for all your mining ships, because the speed with which you're able to mine is partly determined by what percentage of crew you have aboard the ship. So a full crew lets you mine at the highest speed possible. So now that we've set all these things in, put in all our options. I know it says it's missing some parts, but I'm not going to make you wait for that. I will just jump right back in as soon as the ship is ready. So we'll go ahead and add it to the shopping cart. We can see a total price of 1.4 million. Some of the other ships we looked at could be lower than that. They could be down to about $1 million. So there is a little bit of a premium that I'm paying for this particular ship. But in the end, these are all very cheap compared to the larger size mining ships you're going to go with. So we'll go ahead and confirm the order. And I'll be right back through the magic of video. And here we are. 10 minutes for me, 10 seconds for you. So here is our new mining ship in all its glory. Get inside of it. Whoa. Let's not fall out of it. Oh. This is, I say, don't fall out of it. That's exactly what I do. All right, let's climb back in here.
Tethus,
so we've got our teleporter back there, and we've got one seat over here. Go ahead and take over. And on dock. Now let's see where we need to go to do a little bit of mining. Okay, this looks like here's some mining right here. And by clicking on this resource probe, we know that that's ice. That's actually not where we want to go. What is over here? Let's go over here.
Autopilot engaged.
So while we're flying there on autopilot, I can show you on the map. As you can see by going into the legend, mining regions are red, gas mining regions are blue, and a mixture of gas and mineral are purple. So we have a blue one over here that we can go check out. We have a red one over here, which is, as I clicked on the resource probe, looks like it's just ice. And going from memory, this one is actually more than ice. It's actually other materials. We'll find out. Okay, so does not look like ice. So remember I talked about resource probe. So the first thing I'm going to do is go and drop a civilian resource probe. Now if we go back to the map, after dropping the resource probe, you can click on it, make sure that mining is turned on, and then you can, well, let me turn off trade, and you can see here that there's Invidium, ore, and silicon. So silicon and ore are the two most commonly used materials when making virtually everything else. Ore, I think, is the most used because you get metal out of that. Silicon is probably the second most used. Invidium's not used at all, And there's not a huge amount of it. You could see the concentration level is pretty small compared to that of ore. But Invidium is a material that sells for a very high price point. So you could mine Invidium purely to resell it and make extra money in the early game. But this is not the best place for it. There are better places for sure. All right, so map away. Now here we are in the ship mining. The first thing you're going to do when you're going out mining is you're going to turn on your scanning
Scan
mode.
mode activated.
And when you have your scan mode on, you can see the asteroids start to glow either orange or blue. So the orange asteroids are going to be ore, and the blue ones are going to be silica. And they will only change color as you fly closer to them. Asteroids like this one that don't light up in any color are not mineable. They will not provide you with anything useful. And you could see that asteroid just popped up in orange. Let's see if it'll disappear if we back up. It should. Huh, yep, there it is. So you have to be within a certain distance
Argon. Sentinel.
before the asteroids will gain color. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's blue or orange. Once you fly up to it, you will see on the asteroid, hopefully see, some spots in the opposite color. So orange asteroids will have blue spots, blue asteroids will have orange spots. Those spots indicate a high concentration of whatever the particular material is. So in this case, it would be ore. So we've got our, let's make sure we've got our
Primary weapon group 2 selected.
group 1. So our mining laser is selected. So there are two ways to mine. Ignore the little character on the right there. There are two ways to mine. One is simply to just use the lasers to overheat and explode the asteroid, and then use your
Container magnet activated.
container magnet to pull the contents in.
Container magnet deactivated.
The other way to do that, which will generate more of the material for you, is to manually, obviously this is something that requires you fly, not an NPC, go in and shoot the laser to pop out first, before you blow up the asteroid, to pop out these high concentration areas like that. Now if I turn on my
Container magnet activated.
container magnet, I keep thinking tractor beam, that's why I'm waiting for it to say container magnet. You can see that all these little bits are starting to fly towards me, and they're getting sucked into the ship and put into the cargo hold. Come on, you know you want to go in here. Or don't you? Did not connect. Oh, we're full already. Look at that.
Engine
So,
stopped.
without actually breaking apart the asteroid, just from shooting some of these on the asteroid, we're already full. Now that one popped in here because that was, you can see it's an unstable crystal, and it tells you what's used for is crafting bombs. So I just popped off something that'll be useful in crafting bombs. So if you manually go through, look for these hot spots that are in a contrasting color, you will be able to pop them off. There we go. Now, at this point, what I would do is fly to, well, I could turn off the magnet for one.
Deactivated.
But I would fly, I would look at my map to see who is buying ore, which is what I was mining here. Hopefully I know that before I start mining, of course. Okay, this place is buying ore, so we'll go ahead and start guidance to it. Is there anything closer that's buying ore? I don't see anything. No. That looks like that's the closest one. All right. So close the map and just kick on the autopilot. It'll take care of flying us back there. You can see just how quickly we filled up this 2,400, is it? Cargo hold? It's 2,000 something. We'll see when we, I guess I wonder if I can see it this way. Nope. I think I can see it this way. If we look at the ship, hit R to center your ship. So yeah, 2,100. Yeah. So you can see here's a pretty good argument for getting that Terran ship with the 5,000 cargo hold capacity, because obviously we filled this up extremely quickly. And what is it doing here? Oh, it just finally started going. Okay. All right, so we're going to be able to sell it right here.
Disengage.
Fly out there to the refinery. So this is a metal refinery. You can see by all the orange colored bits and pieces on here.
Docking granted.
Whoa, sorry. Bumped into the mic arm here. Okay, and then you do a trade.
It's an honor to have you on board.
You just swish the ore over there. And you hit confirm. And it pays you. Now this whole process can be done in an automated fashion using the using an NPC pilot. In fact, that's how I would do it 9 out of 10 times, is using an NPC pilot aboard a ship like this. All right, now we've emptied out. We'll undock. I'll show you the other method of mining. The other method is if you're in a hurry, or if you're if the rock doesn't contain any of the contrasting bits, and that involves just literally exploding the rock. And certainly as we get into larger mining ships, that's what you're going to do. So in fact, we're kind of in a icy area right here, so we can do that with an ice rock.
Scan mode activated.
Turn on scan mode. Here's one right up here. Okay, so even in ice, you can see we've got these little orange areas. I'm not going to collect them
Engine stopped.
unless it's something interesting. So we'll go ahead and shoot that. Yeah, we'll shoot that. Shoot that. And one thing I will say is, smaller, if you're doing this method where you're shooting just the these contrasting color bits, fly to the smallest asteroid you can, because in my experience, most asteroid rocks have the same number of these regardless of size, which means the smaller the rock, the more densely packed these are. Okay, now we've shut everything off, right? So we'll be able to collect it if we wanted to by turning the magnet on. But this is the other method, and that is just simply to shoot the rock until it explodes. And when it explodes, it'll also generate a few pieces. Now we turn on the magnet. We'll suck in some of this stuff, and we're obviously already quite full. So we can't pull any more. We also got an unstable crystal as part of that, which is used for space bombs, so that's very cool. It's always nice to pick up these little random bits. Okay, that piece was a little too big for us to get. But I believe the cargo's full, it says again.
Engine stopped.
Except now it's actually full of ice. I can
Container magnet deactivated.
turn off the magnet. Now, one thing I will tell you also is the magnet is by default on the O key on the keyboard, and it's a press to activate and release to turn off. It's not a push button that you click once to turn on and then click again to turn off. It's a press and hold button that will only run while you're pressing it. I personally found that to be very annoying. So you can map any function to a joystick in this game. It's very good about mapping functions. And so I actually just mapped the magnet function onto a toggle switch so that I can just flip a switch and the magnet will stay on as long as that switch is flipped. And then when I want to turn it off, I just flip the switch back. So if you have a joystick, I would recommend setting the magnet up for that style of usage. Now again, you can see how much material we were able to pull off of there without... oh, actually we can collect this blue little bit of crystal. All the crystals like this of different colors,
Container magnet activated.
they're all very useful. So let's see, or do I need to? Oh, I might need to shoot it. Can I shoot that? Well, I don't know. I might have just killed it, but for some reason it didn't get pulled in. All these crystals that you will see on either rocks or ice, get them first. They're quite useful and they're a lot more valuable than the ore itself. So keep that in mind. Now let's on the way back, let's just stop next to a large rock like this. Let's see how long it takes just shooting a laser at it to get it to explode. But before we shoot a laser, look at that. There's a yellow crystal and you will want to shoot that, break those crystals off, and then pull them in. These are aguilite crystals. Honestly, I don't remember what they're used for, but probably something good. At the very, if nothing else, you just sell them for money. Okay, let's see how long until it blows up. I may have needed to have been closer. Okay, there we go. And we can't pull anything in with the magnet because we're already full.
Magnet deactivated.
So let's go ahead and dock. And now we've got ice, which means we're looking for a ice facility of some type. Not sure what it would be. Maybe a water refinery or something like that. Smart chips, electronics. I don't see one here. Let's try ice. Nope. So water, probably. Water. Huh. Water. And there's places to buy it. I don't see where you sell it. So I've never mined ice before, guys, so I'm not sure off the top of my head what the name of the facility that refines it is. But I know I've seen them. And yeah, that's ore. It probably has an icon similar to ore. Graphene. But I just don't remember off the top of my head what it would be called. But I think all it does is just makes water from ice. So whatever does that is where you would sell ice to. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the same thing in a different sized ship. Now remember the last ship we were mining in? Well, this is its bigger brother. So same faction, same manufacturer, but now this is a medium-sized ship instead of a small size.
Lotus, mineral, sentinel.
We're going to do manual mining once again in a larger ship, and then I will show you. All right. In fact, we're going to let the pros fly it here. We'll just find a nice cozy spot to stand here I don't know, maybe I can stand over here, maybe sit over here, and then let the pilot fly it out. I zoom in. Okay, he's selected. And let's go mine in the same area. So we'll just click here and do a mine. And we're going to mine. We can either mine ore or silicon. Let's do silicon. And once you've selected mine the ship, as long as it's got a pilot, we'll automatically fly there and start mining. So we can look at the outside view or the inside view. So one thing you'll notice this ship has is it has a single mining head in the front, but then it also has 2 turrets on the sides, and I believe I put in mining turrets in there. You can either have mining or military turrets. I think I have mining turrets, although I'm not 100% sure. We'll see when we get there, depending on what those turrets do. So if those are mining turrets, that means it will be able to shoot and blow up 3 asteroids at the same time. One with its main gun up front, and then 1 each with the turrets. And I really do like the shape of these ships. I think they do a very good job. Well, they create the sort of shape that I always enjoy spaceships to be in. Probably don't need to be this slick. They could frankly be a lot more square. But from a visual standpoint, it's nice to see something that is a little more rounded like this, I think. All right, let's go back inside. Now remember, we dropped a resource probe. That is useful if you're mining yourself, but it is absolutely required if you have the NPC pilot mining, because the NPC pilot mining has to have a resource probe that tells it which area is good to mine. So make sure that you drop enough probes, not just a single probe, but enough probes that there's some choice for your pilot to mine. So you can see the probes are these green outlines. They cover quite a large area of the map from a single probe, but you're probably going to want to drop like 5 or 6 of them to cover the entire area. All right, so he's in the asteroid field. He's mining silicon. So let's see how he chooses what he wants to mine. Unfortunately, we can't see the blue and the orange right now because only the pilot can see that view, the scan view. So he's flying around looking for which is going to be the best to mine. Oh, you're going to sit there now? Okay. All right. I'll go to the other chair.
Lotus, Mineral, Sentinel.
Yes, this is the Jughead race, known in the game as the Paranids. They have 3 eyes, and I think they have 3 fingers on each hand. All right, what are you doing, buddy? You're flying around way too much. Just pick one. Pick one and shoot it. So again, this is one of the downsides of just having NPCs doing stuff. Is anything you can do quickly, they can do slowly. So finding a rock to shoot took us probably, what, 20 seconds? We had a rock picked out and we're flying towards it to go shoot it. These guys are just taking their time, flying around, trying to decide which rock they're going to mine first. So never expect the NPCs to be able to be as efficient or as quick as you are, and not just for mining, for pretty much everything in the game. if you want the NPCs attacking another ship, you know that they're going to do it a lot slower than you would yourself. You want NPCs mining, same thing. You want the NPCs moving products, picking them up one place, selling them somewhere else. They'll do it, but they'll do it much slower pace than you could do it if you were manually doing it yourself. Well, I'm hoping he finally gets a rock here so we can actually see what this looks like from an NPC control standpoint. So far, he's having a tough time finding a rock. I may get I may speed him up a little bit here. Let me fly to where there's a bunch of good rocks.
Scan mode activated.
So these are all okay. I think I know why he's circling around, because none of these are silicon rocks. All the orange is the minerals. So there's 3 silicon
Engine
rocks
stopped.
right here. So I'm going to get out of the seat, which is Control D if you remember, for quickly stand up.
Lotus.
And now that we're in
Mineral.
location to
Sentinel.
where there's multiple silicon rocks, hopefully he'll just pick one. Either that, or I can just change what the ship is mining for. If he doesn't do this quickly, I can update that as well. Yeah, he's like leaving the area where I had all those. Okay, we'll just update it. No problem. So we will just go here. We're going to delete mining for silicon. We're going to go to make him local auto mine. I guess I still have to pick it. Okay, ore. How about local ore? How's that? Okay, flying somewhere. You got a bunch of them here. There's a ton of orange rocks. Pick one, buddy. Well, so far all I'm showing off is how much slower the NPCs are than we are. Wow. Come on. Just pick a rock. Okay, he seems to be collecting a rock that we previously hit. Yeah, that gets sucked in. We got that. You wanna make some new rocks, buddy? There we go. There we go. Yeah, so those are mining turrets. So you can see that they're actually shooting things that the ship isn't even pointing at. They've decided to blow up that rock right there. Now we got all 3 targeting it to blow it up faster. Sometimes it'll actually target multiple rocks at the same time. Okay, it blew it up, and now it's going to turn on its collector magnet and then just suck in everything that it can. So this is pretty much AFK mining that we're watching. We just happen to be on the ship. Now, what's the downside of doing either AFK mining or just mining by blowing up rocks altogether? Okay, he's going towards that one. And then he's going to turn the magnet on. It's like, I don't know, you could just be in one place and not have to travel as much. So the NPCs will always be less efficient. Now let's look at the map real quick. You can see this green outline is the outline of the resource probe right here, right? So as long as you're mining something inside of this circle, you are getting the full value, or I shouldn't say full value. You're getting full speed. You're mining at the highest possible speed that your ship is capable of. However, if I leave this green circle and say I go mining like over in this blue area, right? It's outside the green circle. Then there's a penalty of 50%. So the mining will happen 50% slower. So it's reduces your money per hour rate because you're mining slower unless you're in one of these green. That's why I said it's going to be important to make sure that all areas of mining are covered with these green circles from the resource probes so you can maximize the amount of material or speed of mining that you get. All right, so he's doing this super slowly. Let me just jump in there and just
Lotus.
manually do this again.
Sentinel.
First thing I'm going to do is turn on the magnet,
Container magnet activated.
which I would just leave on at all times. Now, as I'm flying around, you can see I'm not pushing anything. My lasers by themselves are just shooting asteroids of the type that I've selected. And so as I'm just flying by to get close enough to pick those chunks up, they're already shooting.
Engine stopped.
There we go. They're already shooting the next one. And I don't even have to shoot it. I can shoot it if I want to, but I don't have to. The only reason to shoot it is to speed up the process of it blowing up. There we go. And then, oh yeah, I want to also go into
Scan mode activated.
Scan mode. I wasn't even in scan mode before. So doing it manually, you would just kind of fly towards where you want to shoot, or
Engine
where there's
stopped.
an asteroid, I should say, that's worth shooting. Now, remember, we told it to mine ore. This asteroid is not ore, but it's mining it anyway. Okay, I was going to say, it's not going to mine if it's the wrong type of asteroid, but I guess it doesn't really care. So it's just going to, basically going to break down every single asteroid, and then it's up to you to pick up whatever pieces you want. There's more bits and pieces. Now, another thing I will say is, when you're telling the computer what you would like it to mine, you tell it what type of asteroids to mine. When you're mining yourself, let me bring up the screen here. Put this in I. You can see that we've got a bunch of ore in here, but we can also have a bunch of silicon. So in this game, you're not limited to mining only a single type of material. You're limited to mining I guess it is a type of material. It's not one material, but one type of material, which is solid. So any of the solids like ore, silicon, or ice can be mined with this ship at the same time, meaning it'll just put into its cargo hold any of those, and when you fly back to sell, you'll have a combination. Now, you saw those explode? So whenever you do have little chunks left over like this, they have a limited amount of time that they're going to float around before they go pop. So I'm not full, so it should be grabbing these. There we go. So let's see if it'll start shooting this when we get a little closer. I'm sure it will. Yeah, well, it's shooting something else right now. Now, but one thing you do want to keep in mind is if you want to do the high density mining, so like manually only shooting the areas of the rock that have the contrasting colored bits, then you're going to want to make sure that your turrets are turned off. And you can do that right here. So turret state is disarmed. So if it was mining by itself, I would leave the turrets on so it does it faster. If I'm specifically trying to maximize the concentration quickly, then I might actually turn the turrets off and only shoot at the high density parts of the asteroid. Now I don't see a whole lot of high density parts of the asteroid, so I'm gonna turn them back on, and then I'm gonna shoot and nuke this asteroid. There we go. And then pick up the pieces that are left. There we go, now we're full. We also picked up some spacefly eggs, and you make caviar out of those, which is useful for some missions, as well as for some it's also has a high value, so you can actually sell space caviar or spacefly egg caviar. So there you go, bigger capacity.
Engine stopped.
And right now, let's go take a look at the different models of medium mining ships. Okay, so we're going to be looking at large. Actually,
Sir.
yeah, I skipped to large. Yeah, let me skip back to medium because I want to show you some of the mediums before we go to large. So from the Paranid, going to the medium. We have this is the ship we were just in. The Plutus. With its 2 turrets on the sides, 1 front. So if you're going to manually be piloting the ship, you really just need this 1 turret because you're going to be mining those high contrasting colored areas on asteroids. You don't need the 2 turrets blowing stuff up next to you as a result of that. So you could actually, let me do a normal build of this thing. And then you can put in, and you can see speed is pretty good on this. It's a medium, so it holds 11,000 capacity. And it flies about the same speed as the smaller version of that ship, the small size ship, which is very good. Obviously 11,000 is going to take quite a bit more. The other thing is, naturally, it has more hull and shield hit points on here as well, because it's a medium size instead of a small ship. But what I started saying is you could take and put actual military weapons in these slots, and now you've basically got an armed mining ship. So if somebody attacks you, your option isn't just to run away. Your option is to start running away while shooting at them with 2 turrets automatically. And I think that's more of what I would typically put on there, is just a single turret and then put some military turrets behind there. Now, we were not able to do a gas version of the mining ship in the size small, but the size medium ones, all the mineral ships have a gas version of the ship, which is identical. It looks the same. The only difference is it's mining gaseous material, which it then compresses down into a liquid. So it's basically liquid storage here. And it still has those same 2 slots for lasers here for turrets, but there is no turret for mining gas. The gas is just mined by being, sucked into the edges of the ship itself. So it's missing that front turret. That's not there. And the only thing you can put on the side turrets are weapons. And it also has a pretty good speed, if I remember here. Yeah, 394. So same as the other one. Pretty darn good. Got 1 shield, but again, a better size shield. So nice, quick mining ship in the medium size format. Now we can compare that with the Terran version, which is a Bolo. It looks like this. It looks like basically a larger version of one of the smaller ones. This has 8,000. That one had 11,000, so it definitely has less cargo capacity. And it has a similar layout to where it has 2 turrets on the sides. And it has one front turret out here. Speed-wise, it's actually a little bit slower. So while the Terrans had the best, meaning cargo capacity-wise, mining ship of all, over 5,000 capacity, their medium-sized ship is not very good. It's only 8,000 capacity. Let's look at another one. Okay, so let's look at another one. So this is a Minoria, which is a Totti vessel. This one has 10,000 capacity, just slightly less than the first one. It looks quite different. Speed-wise, it's 309, so it's a little bit slower, but quite a bit slower travel speed. Travel speed is about half as much. The advantage of this one, though, is it has 2 shields. So it can actually be set up to be twice the total shield amount, which means it's a lot less likely to be ganks. Harder for the NPCs to kill it. It's a similar setup. It has a main turret right there for where is it? For the mining. Where's mining laser? There it goes, mining drill. So you can put the mining drill up there, and then you can again either put military or mining turrets on the sides of it. So this ship, I would say, would be more likely to be used in a riskier environment where having a much bigger shield would be very, very important. And then I just realized I could have been showing these ships off a lot quicker by just going to the encyclopedia. So
The ship will be undocking.
yeah, so here's our alligator. So this is going to be a very quick ship from Zyarch. It has a capacity of 7,000. So usually smallest capacity, highest speed. Speed of 800 meters per second, which is crazy fast, with a travel speed of 7,400 meters per second. So this thing will go back and forth very, very quickly while carrying 7,000 cargo on it. It also has a max shield of 9,000. And there is also a gas version of that, not just the regular version. Bolo, we already looked at. So that's the Terran ship. Then there's the drill, which has a capacity of 9,800. But a speed of only 2,832. So it's definitely a slower ship. Fairly comparable in most other regards. This is the one we looked at that had a really nice shield capacity.
Saving game failed.
Yeah, that's all right. And this was the first one we looked at. Oops, actually it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. 11,500 capacity. Single shield, so 9,000 shield. And very good placement for the guns. From our little fishy friends there, we have the Porpoise, which has a 7,800 capacity. It has an awesome 17,000 shield, and it has a decent speed of 384 with 5,000 for travel speed. It is physically larger. All of the Boron ships tend to be physically larger, just because they're kind of stretched out with fins and whatnot. Then we've got the Sundar or Sundar. Not sure how you pronounce it. So this one has 12,000 capacity with a single shield of 9,000. and a fairly slow speed of, well, it's not too slow. It's 446 max speed with 4,000 travel speed. So out of all of these, I certainly like this one a lot, and it's got a high capacity. But let's see, which one was it? This one? Nope. Nope, definitely not the Bolo. The drill. Yeah, I guess the drill's a pretty good one here. I mean, there's nothing that really stands out a lot. All these ships are fairly comfortable, fairly comparable. Some are just a little bit slower, some are a little bit faster, some have slightly more cargo, but nothing really is a jump out version of a ship. Now, without leaving this screen, we're going to close the light ships and open up the heavy. So on the heavy side, to start off with the fastest one, which is the Wyvern. And this thing has a capacity of 20,000, a shield of 69,000, and a speed of 381, or up to 11,000 in the travel mode, which is crazy fast. It's a very quick ship. We can move on to the Rorqual. The Rorqual from the what are they called? I'm blanking out. The Boron. It has a really long tail, so it's physically sized again. It's quite a bit bigger. But of the important things, it has a 40,000 cargo capacity. It has a 200,000 shield capacity, so able to stand up to some very severe attacks from pirates or any kind of bad guys. But it only goes 182 meters per second. Although it does have a decent 7,600 speed once you're fully up to speed. The Magnetar at 40,000, also fairly slow, 183 meters per second. But here it's got shield capacity of 138, so about half of what the Rorqual has, but still more than most of these other ships. And there are gas versions of all these, like I said, where specs are going to be fairly similar. This is the Hokkaido. This is the Terran large size mining ship. Has a capacity of 38,000 and a shield of 69,000. So significantly less than the shield on the Rorqual, which was 205. Dania is kind of a specialty mining ship, and it has a capacity of 34,000 and a decent speed of just over 300. And then we have some of the larger ships, like the Crane E, with a capacity of 50,000, although it travels a speed of 5,022 and a regular speed of 173. But now we're back up to the 200,000 cargo capacity, or 200,000 shield capacity, which, again, for all practical purposes, when you get into the shield capacities, they're way over 100,000. The ability of these ships to withstand some serious bombardment against them is very good. And we have another Crane here, which has a capacity of 48,000, so it's a slightly smaller size one with a slightly faster engines. And we have a Thonios, which is a you can guess the manufacturer, I'm sure, by this point, looking at them now. But this one is a large size, 34,000 capacity, 35, let's say, and a decent 336 normal speed and 10,000 travel speed. But a shield of only 69,000. So while that shield is way, way, way more than medium or small size ship shields, it is 69,000, whereas the best one here, the Rorqual, was what, 205,000. So about 3.5 times more. And then, of course, we have the gas version of these as well. And this one's 32,000. So if you want to mine large capacity cargo, like this one right here, this Crane Sentinel, has a cargo capacity of 57,000 cargo capacity. So significantly more cargo capacity. It does fly slower at 168, but it more than makes up for it by having this massive, massive capacity combined with a over 200,000 shield capacity. So it's a ship that can survive some serious attack going on against it, while at the same time staying out and mining for an extended period of time. So let's actually get into a large ship, and I can show you what that looks like, and then we'll wrap up the video after that. Okay, let me buy one of those. Okay, so now we are in this ship. Oops, we are in this ship. You can see how big this puppy is. And we're currently next to the station. Let's go ahead and fly this ship to do a little bit of mining. So I'm once again going to just put it to do some auto mining. And let's see, I think I should be able to do that right here. Local auto mine.
Requesting immediate backup.
See if it'll start moving. If not, I'll manually fly it out of here. Okay, I'll manually fly it out of here. Obviously, as you can imagine, it takes a lot longer to speed up. It's a lot more clumsy. Every movement just takes longer.
Engine stopped.
This is not the ship that you're going to be trying to only briefly shoot out the... so it's got 3 turret lasers and no main gun. So you're pretty much relying on your turret lasers just blowing up anything that you're next to, and then turning on your magnet to pick up whatever gets dropped. Now the other thing that you have, and they're only going to be really visible from the outside view, is you have mining drones. Now what are mining drones? Because we didn't talk about them previously. You can see they're the little green guys over there, and their job is to actually go in and bring rocks that are small enough to go inside the ship automatically. So let me just target the mining drone. So this is the view from just behind the mining drone, and I can turn the magnet off.
Deactivated.
So what they're going to do is just fly around and look for rocks that are fairly decent size, but small enough to fit into this area in the middle of the drone. You can see it's an empty area with a couple of force field banks around it, and they're going to grab a rock that is the right size, and then they're going to fly back and drop it off at the main ship. So I think he's found something. There we go. He's found the rock. He's going to grab it, pull it in there, And now hold on to it while he's flying back to the large size mining vessel. So I could be, meanwhile, obviously flying around, blowing up more rocks. I don't have to be stationary the way that I am right now, but I just wanted to kind of follow the progress of the mining drone. And you can have up to 10 of these mining drones flying around collecting rocks that are the right size to be able to bring back in. I think I've got 4 of them out here right now. Not sure what he's waiting for. He should be actually landing on the ship. Oh, I guess he's waiting up there for the empty one to fly out. Okay. So he's going to fly down here. Land. And there you go. You can see the size of the robots is actually compared to the person that is just back here as well. I don't know if you saw the person before the robot landed. But anyway, you get the idea. It's a sizable. It's a very sizable ship. Enough to support multiple drones or robots that are going to do recovery work for asteroid junks. And meanwhile, the largest of the asteroids, you just fly at them or by them. There's another recovery robot dropping off. And then as soon as you get close enough, the ship will just start shooting them to overheat them and make the rock detonate. Wow, that rock is bigger than it looks because it's taking us quite a bit longer to get to it. Okay, there we go.
Engine stopped.
There we go. That was quick. Must have been pretty much ready to get blown up already anyway.
Container magnet activated.
So whatever is small enough, I'll just suck in with the container magnet. And anything that is too big to just get sucked in with the magnet, that will be rounded up by the drones, the mining drones. Or limpets, as we would call them in Elite Dangerous. But meanwhile, you can see the magnets pulling in quite a few chunks, in fact. Sometimes if you fly around asteroids, what you'll see is a lot of these chunks just floating in space because some ship blew up an asteroid and it was already full when half the asteroid was only collected. And so that means there's enough chunks from a large size asteroid. There we go. So we're at 11% on ore. We go back inside the ship. Okay, and if we... I don't know how full I am right now. Let's see.
Container magnet deactivated.
Make sure this is selected. So only 7,000 out of 57,000. Now remember, the small size ones top out at 5,000. The medium ones at about 12,000. And this large size at 57,000. So that's a lot of ore. Now, there is one other ship I want to show you guys. It's not the biggest. In fact, it's one of the smallest capacities. But it's a really cool... I think I've got one. Let me check. If I do, I'll show it. Otherwise, I'll just buy one real quick. But I'm not sure if I have it. It is... I think this is it. Teleport there. Oh no, that's not it. That's the different
Entering
ship.
system. Argus Cascade.
Yeah, this is a salvage ship, not a mining ship. Not a crane. Not one of these. Yeah, let me buy it real quick. But it is a neat ship as far as mining ships go. Okay, now we are in probably what is my favorite mining ship, but it's definitely not the most efficient or the best mining ship. I just like the way it looks. Ignore all the phone call stuff and whoa, whatnot. Okay, that's a redo. Okay, now we are in my favorite mining ship. Now, it is not the biggest, certainly not the best. It may be the fastest, but it's definitely my favorite in terms of visuals. It's the most interesting looking, and if you hop just right, it gives you the best view. So it just entered an asteroid area here. Let's see what it ends up choosing to mine. Or is it just flying through here? I gotta look at the map. No, it should be good. Should be good. Make that inactive. So it's still just choosing. But yeah, I just love this view. I like the interior overall. And I definitely like this view. Let me show you the external view as well.
Wyvern mineral.
So it is very quick, but it's only got 20,000 storage compared to 56,000 of the other ship that we were in. One thing that's annoying is how long it takes them to decide which rock they want to go after. Not that hard a decision, guys. Just pick one. Pick one and go after it. So at this part of mining, when you're using NPCs, is all about how fast is the slow speed of the vehicle, right? Because the fast speed is when you're flying somewhere or you're flying back. When it's looking for which rocket, I don't even know where it's going. Honestly, I have no idea where it's going. When you're looking for which rock to mine, it's going to be flying at this speed, which I think is around 300 or so for it. So what if I go... I mean, it's supposed to be... Let's just put on local auto mine. There we go. We're going to mine ore. Confirm. And you can see how many of the ore satellites I've dropped. I'm covering a very large chunk of space because I wanted to be able to pick the best mining position in this entire area. And one other thing I should mention about mining the asteroids is that the asteroids do respawn I don't know what the time on it is, but it's less than an hour. I know that for sure. So once you start chewing through asteroids, you can't end up with a completely empty area devoid of asteroids like you can in like Eve, for example. Are we moving even? What is it doing? Mine. You don't look like you're mining. You look like you're stationary. Okay. Am I going to have to take over again? This is not that hard.
Scan mode activated.
Turn on the scanner. Yes, I can see that most of these are not mineable. Look at that. So we've got the drones coming out. And it's got 2 drone bays. So it's going to have drones coming out from 2 different bays at the same time. How cool is that? Okay, we kind of had them hit the ship a little bit. I'm still not seeing any yellow rocks here, though. So maybe there is a reason that it was flying around and not immediately mining. So that's what, 4 of them that came out? This is going to be... Oh, it found one. Okay. It found one that was shooting. Oh, found another one. Let me turn around this way. Found another one. There we go. Now it's finding rocks. So you can see it's breaking up rocks as we're flying. And then the drones are picking up the large pieces. If I turn on the magnet,
Activated.
I'm going to start picking up the small pieces. I mean, it's a pretty efficient system that doesn't require you to do a whole lot. I'm pretty much not doing anything right now. I'm just sitting in the ship. It's picking what to shoot. It's obviously shooting different things here. And I've got the magnet pulling in material that's small, and then the androids will, or the androids, the limpets or the drones will bring in the larger ones. Unstable crystal we got, so in some bomb material. It's a really cool looking ship. There's the drones, the first drones coming back. Things that they've picked up. Or these look actually kind of empty, so maybe they're coming back without having picked anything up. Yeah. All of these look empty. Not very good. Look at all this stuff getting sucked in there. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. All those materials getting pulled in. Alright, the drones are landing back down. I think they've decided that how many did I have out? So 2 of them landed, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I had probably 8 of them out. Alright, so if we... Let's go towards these 2 rocks. We got a yellow one on the left and a blue one on the right. Oh, we got a bunch of yellow ones there. Let it kind of decide what it wants to shoot. You can also see why I like to keep the the magnet on a switch. You're landing without anything in there. You should land with something. So on the switch, it'll just keep pulling materials in. Hopefully that gave you guys a little bit of an idea of what it takes to do mining. The process definitely is less involved than it is in Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen. There is no minigame. And while you do get less material if you just run around and you blow up rocks than if you were to look at their contrasting color hotspots and specifically shoot those out, but it takes very little skill to shoot out the hotspots. All you have to do is just use your laser to shoot at it for about 2 seconds, and the hotspot will dump out the material that either material that the rock, you could tell what it is by the color, or something special like materials for bombs, or even the caviar that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I have no idea why these are all empty. This is bizarre behavior. Usually they are quite full. Oh well. All right, guys. I will catch you on the next one. We'll get back to doing some basic beginner level stuff, but I wanted to do a video on a topic, not just here's what I'm doing right now that you guys can watch and learn from. So the key things to remember about mining is you have 3 types of ships. You can start with the small ones. All of these miners, as long as they have a captain aboard, can be automated, either by going into this menu, selecting the ship, and then selecting local automine, or if you want them to go specifically and drop material at a specific station, like let's say, I think there was a it's graphene. Was there a? Yeah, I don't see it. Well, I guess there is an ore station. There's an ore refinery right there. So if I wanted to go specifically to that ore refinery and not just sort of randomly wherever it wants to go, I would go in here. I would clear this out. I would do delete all. I would go and change this to repeat orders. Now I can't because I have a really crappy captain in there. But the way to fix the crappy captain is to go in here, right click on the captain, do a comms, give him a seminar. That's the captain right here. So I'm going to give him basic piloting, and I'm going to give him a 1-star piloting because I have all of those. And that makes him a much better captain, and it also allows me to then go in here and right click or change this to repeat orders, hit confirm, right click on an area in the map, select mine, what the material is, again let's say ore, and then select the station I want them to bring it to, right click on that and do a sell to, click on that. And since we're mining, we don't really care what the minimum price is going to be. So let's go down to ore. I don't want to keep any. I want to sell everything. And it'll put the price in the middle here. I usually bring the price all the way down, which means that even if a station gives you less and less for every load, you're going to continue selling loads because our cost to get the material is literally 0. We're mining it ourselves. So whether I sell it for 45 or whether I sell it for 58, I mean, obviously better for more, but even at 43, we're still making money. So then I hit confirm, and then the ship will be going between mining and flying back to the station that we set up as the specific ones that we wanted to sell to. So that's the 2 easy methods to do this. Either click here, put it on local automine, or click here, put it on repeat orders, and then manually select where to mine and where to sell. The beauty of using the repeat orders is you don't have to do it in the same system. You can mine here, and then you can go over here or over here, and then select this station to sell to. and it'll take care of automatically flying back and forth as it does that. And of course, the further it is, the more difference having a ship with a high speed is going to make. Whereas if you're selling inside the system, so you're mining here, you're just flying a little bit and selling, then the speed is going to, it's still going to be a difference, but it'll just be a lot less of a difference. All right, I better wrap this up before I keep going and finding other new things to talk about. I will see you guys on the next one.